We often talked about how much of an impact he would have on that secondary AWP, but that's not to be this time over. And so we're just going to have to see if TGE can hang with the boys.
Well, Paquetá don't actually invest in any sort of utility, so they're hoping to duke it out in firepower. And honestly, just for the entire series, that might be the call. You've got 2 maps on Mirage and Dust 2 where, potentially pop-off moments can mean you can pug it out with the best of them. Sure, TGE probably going to have a hard time keeping up just by virtue of the fact that he's a coach, but hell, you never know. David, in the meanwhile, though, keeps an eye out, sees a few players crossing right over, can't catch them on the first try. TGE is going to have to step up instead, spots out the player, but now there's a shot. It's Crispy midair, but he's also been fried to a crisp himself. Destiny, nice shot in the back lines, going out before, managed to double up, the communication just not present, and that puts IDK in a doable situation, and he's got the 4th kill. Immediately plucks him out of midair. No kit, so he has to hurry up. He knows it. Adjustment is on point. Zevi around the corner, peeking into him. The Glock close range wins that one out.
Yeah, it's a really awkward round there for Paquetá because they actually went for a lot of initiative there in that pistol round, trying to capitalize on maybe a faster B play like this. They had the potential to flank over towards A as well, and it gets chaotic on the site. Just not able to hold that line for long enough because that flank was pretty lethal. The kills that they were able to get, only for Zevi to clutch things out. Thought that the delay tactics were going to be there predominantly from Paquetá, but they just take fights instead, not allowing for that flank to activate in time. Now we see a force relegated
to the... You're going to drop an op in a couple of rounds duty.
I think, especially without Kartek being on the server, we're going to have to really see the best of Nython.
Oh yeah, and right now, I mean, the T side already having control over the B-bomb side. Nothing too surprising, but Nython, maybe there's a chance to show his best here. A few kills would be nice for him. He's picked up one, drops the bomb before it's planted, works around the smoke and readjusting. But the market player only to be shot in the side of the head by Zevi. He doesn't like fair fights. As long as they're winning it out, he doesn't care. Sharks up 2-0.
Yeah, ultimately, no big deal. Just collapsing on that site, making use of those MAC-10s to get that extra space. And even if Nython's able to get away with a sneaky frag, it doesn't end up being all too that impactful. So now we should see Paquetá just trying to group up. You know, the Deagle collective.
Yeah. I am quite interested to see what the Sharks continues this rapid pace of trying to go for faster plays onto a bomb site as time goes on as well. This is always something I have in my mind, Michael, is that do you try and compensate for the fact that a team doesn't have their natural IGL? Sure, there's a code, so there will be some crossover, but hey, do you maybe try and force them to mid-round more, or do you stick to your own game plan? How do you really play it out?
A lot of questions to be answered, but these rifles should put an end to much debate. It's actually getting a little bit hairy with all these fights in towards middle. Realzen does still have control of it. JNT there to reinforce. Of course, with that bomb being in that position, it was crucial they stayed alive, and with JNT hitting the shot on towards short, Nython has no real chance at coming into this round. Can recover himself a weapon, but JNT is there to make sure that does not happen. Young Sharks, they keep these 3 players up. They get the nice 3-0 start. And now we should see the buy in from Paquetá. This is where we will put a little bit of scrutiny on the fact that, that rapid substitution did have to come into play, which is, it's odd that it happens because first couple days all seems fine. Kartek is playing with the boys, and now no longer a part of it. It's as well, Paquetá, we noted yesterday, or in the last time we saw them, that, communications did seem like a big issue, but a lot of damage being found at the start of this round. The follow-up nade from David, though, doesn't bounce the right way. Not even supposed to bounce, really.
Yeah. Maybe off the back of the cart wall, but even so, you're right, that could have been a free kill going their way, and with the amount of utility they've actually used to contest down in mid, that is a loss they're feeling. IDK getting aggressive, finds a lot of information, but Pat could actually still catch him off. JNT doing just that towards the apartment. Finds one, tagged up in the meanwhile, but weakness is not death. What doesn't kill them? Only gives them a bigger numbers advantage, apparently. Paquetá not able to capitalize on any of this damage, and now you're already in a position where you even start to think, hey, maybe do we just stack onto the A bomb site perhaps? Nighton's already there with the AWP and he's turned away at the worst possible time. No flashes meant he could have done something, and as he peeks out forward, he needs to get these kills, finds the first, plucks him out, there's no backup, so it's all him, and he's delivered. Destiny over in mid, been given the time he needed to come through with the connector flank. Is he expecting the third? Yes, he is. Checks out the corner, now David there to cover. JNT all alone and low from the beginning of the round, off recovered, and a solid start for Paquetá on their gun round.
Yeah, it's a big round there from Nighton, just being that last defender on that A site, and it makes a whole lot of sense why you would start to lean a stack over there on the side of Paquetá. If they know that they've done all of this damage at the start of the round, it's such a hard site to go to as a T site. Even if you have those numbers, you're so susceptible to getting sprayed down. But because of that extra room Nighton provides, you know, David can get there in time. The rest of Paquetá can go in for the recovery. It was that much more impactful as well that the bomb was with them.
Ooh, I like this from Nighton. Getting aggressive early on. He's the one who gets the kill. Lukowski. His teammate got a bit of good fortune. Last time was dealing with an M4. He's not going to have the same kind of luck. While Destiny peeks out, there's a second to come through. Swinging for more is an option, but he decides against it. Jumps back behind the connector. He'll even have heard a bullet going out, so he wants a re-peek. That's a mistake, even if it does net him a whole lot of damage.
And they're getting so aggro over this A side. They pushed ramp one round. Now IDK's gone through Palace, and he is going to bypass Pank, but this sets him up to finish off the job on these remaining two players over in middle. You can see that they're holding for the potential for this flank, but IDK actually taking a little bit of the high ground, but not the one that Reels in is expecting. Hope of JNT around the corner. He spots the shoulder, and IDK finishes off the job. Pank, he had a lurk successful. He finds a kill, but he's so separated from that bomb and so separated from really getting a round together. So Paquetá, a couple rounds in a row now that they've got themselves into these rifles, and we're seeing a very different Nighton than we've experienced in previous Paquetá gaming experiences. You know, he feels like he's almost been let loose a little bit.
Yeah, the chains of an IGL are gone now, basically. Nighton's free to dance a waltz of death. Now, this is where it gets interesting because, you know, we've criticized him for maybe being a bit too passive at times. And now, like you said before, the chains are off, Michael. And what does that mean? Well, that means Nighton wants to go again. He's got the crisp movement. He knows it. And a run boost from the other side is going to be already tagged up with a nade. Adjustment from Nighton looks good, but it's actually Destiny who picks it up. Nighton's there to follow up with a couple more of his own. And sure, their Glocks, but Matt, he's got to get the confidence going. And seems like he's done so pretty nicely. Rails in, peeking out the Glock double ding. Okay. Why not?
He didn't grab the gun. He was trying to whisk himself away, but instead he is whisked away to the afterlife instead. All in all, they're building money.
I like this approach right now from Paquetá, Michael. You know, I mentioned how they're going to need to pug it out a little bit more as well, and they're going for this all-out aggression. My only question is, what's the adjustment going to be in Young Sharks' default? They've shown us the tendency to be able to go for a faster play as well. Maybe this might be the time to call it.
Well, the Zeviorp, maybe hazard a guess. You know, we get to about that minute 50-second mark before we start to see real commitments here from the Sharks. Again, run boost will be attempted. This time, no nade to deal that damage. And bottom connector, Destiny's gonna get out of there. Maybe expecting a bit of mounting pressure with that mid control being a factor, but IDK once again, he's been so aggro over this A side, and he's already dealt with the player in at ramp, and he's hungry for more.
No way, you can't go for this one. IDK, though, he's being a little bit patient, although only for a while. Now gives up the advantage found earlier on. Maybe some chains would have been good. You know what? I like Nighton being unchained. I like IDK's initiative that he's taking. But for sure, a big loss where Young Sharks can try and work off of it, despite their utility being very dry.
Yeah, there's a thin difference between unchained and unhinged, and I feel like IDK's aggression is leading to kind of unhinged territory.
Indeed, indeed. You might be right on that one.
I just want to slap him in the face. His words, the Young Sharks, probably.
Okay, fair enough. Good little asterisk you've got going for yourself. Nighton, though, hoping to come through with a big one. That's a bomb that's been missed out on David's tag. In the meanwhile, he's generally a solid pair of hands, but not this time over. He's found, dropped down. Rotation from the CTs is going to be a bit late, and Nighton unable to take down the bomber. Means that he's going to have to come with the rest of his team. Over in mid, he'll have to get the jump, inconsistent about it, but this time he doesn't quite land it, so it's a long way around for him, and that should just be a call to save. If Nighton can't be there in time from short, yeah, for sure as hell not going for this.
Yeah, they were thinking about it for a little bit, but as soon as that Molotov comes in, they just hightail it out of there. They were building up some decent cash, but, you know, keeping 3 weapons alive is kind of that bare minimum to be in a net positive. And unfortunately, that doesn't leave copious reserves. So 1 or 2 weapons saved over would have been the absolute minimum. A 3 is nice on top to break the streak, you know, 3 rounds back-to-back from either squad.
Also 3 rounds back-to-back that IDK is actually pushed out, so...
But you can see how difficult that was for David, because they start bouncing out of the apartments. The flash is pretty much perfect on him, so he's unable to really get a fair gunfight. True. And that's the problem that you have as that anchor, is that if you are caught out and exposed like that, then very quickly that site can fall into enemy hands.
You're not wrong about that. But, again, my question is still going to be, what's the adjustment from Young Sharks this time? Are you maybe going to be looking to get control over aiming a bit quicker, something like that? IDK this time much more passive, while Destiny is going to be pairing up once again over in mid. Nighton's not there with him. He's taking a more aggressive angle inside apartments. And IDK, you know what? I like this, IDK. Showing us the second dimension.
He's usually a really solid support player.
Yes.
Especially when we look at Dust 2, which of course can come up in this series. Fair distance to get there.
Oh, Nighton. Gotta be careful. This one needs to land that. Looked like he was right on point for it, but that's barely missing it out. Now, re-establishing mid-control seems to be the name of the game for Young Sharks, as they have deployed their smokes to try and allow for just that. It'll be Railsin lead the charge in from the underpass, be the first point of contact into connector. That flash used to try and force them back as well. But what's the call? No one from the CTs is going to be needing to make contact with them just quite yet.
Molly.com's going to keep them busy a little longer, so this pulls the timing round to about 35 seconds. They want to converge, but tags being found and heard here from Destiny, so they know that there's someone lingering around that other side.
That's big information, and IDK's got a big duel he needs to win. Pack comes out on top, though, and a flashbang to assist his team through. It's already Destiny with 2, and David on the secondary has found 1 in the meanwhile. Zevi trying to trade, but TGE is the only one to fall. Zevi's already tagged as well, so these 2 ops on the other side might as well switch out to pistols. He can't even plant out in the open. Has to be careful. David just forcing him off of it, and he knows that Zevi's no longer going for this. Zevi's got an aggressive, taking a vertical angle, but time's ticking away. A flashbang over that's been dodged out, and David's still waiting inside the smoke. You can't plant anymore, and David just shuts him down.
It's a really solid read, all in all, there from Paquetá. Without there's a whole lot of teasing going around in that mid round, where nades and flashes and spam is being thrown out each and every direction. But when it finally comes to hitting these bomb sites, they knew that mid control was going to be a bit of an issue. And with IDK's position in at ramp, it made things so much more difficult. They tried to go for this 3-pronged assault, but you don't have enough players to really set up for trades on every one of those attack avenues. And so when that connector presence was shut down, things got very, very dicey. Timeout called here from the Young Sharks, trying to figure things out. They came up with a winning solution on that B play. And now things have shifted back into the Paquetá side. I think that no real surprises with the stat coming up.
Yeah.
Lovely one. But David, yeah, he's been a pretty consistent factor for Paquetá. I think it's kind of one that goes missing a lot, because I feel like, I think I mentioned this as well in the green room, I feel like David always creeps up to the top of the leaderboard, but I don't remember a lot of the kills, because he's always just coming in on rotations and fixing the problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, are you saying he's a bit like an old HLTV copy pasta? Pack, though, meanwhile, finds Destiny, shuts him down. Do you remember a David flick, Michael?
No, I don't, apparently.
That's the point.
Yeah. They were right all along.
Sometimes you really got to give it to the meme lords. That's why Vu's here on the analyst desk.
Yeah.
Help me some Vu. IDK in the meanwhile, getting a bit more aggressive over down in mid. It turns out he doesn't want to keep his territory over in the A-bomb site. Instead, he's experimenting. That experimentation's not working, though. They've already lost out 3 players, and this would be the worst possible round to lose your momentum on. Money's going to be absolutely binned.
They've got armor, too.
Not a good look. You need TGE to step up, and that's only if they come to this B-bomb site. That plan is not there. We've only got Rails in. He's here as a lurk, and if he goes down, sure, TGE is going to be able to make the call and rotate back. Nithon's in position. He's got an incendiary as well, so maybe some space to deny, but needs to peek out first. Get one. Now this is all about him making sure that he can exploit spacing mistakes, pulls out the deco, gets himself 3. Nithon's on a roll, and he's looking to make it more, but he might have become overzealous. Is it up to the coach to be able to step up in this position? TGE's not got utility, but at least has the kit. Zephy, meanwhile, an incendiary that is unlikely to come into play as he's rotating backwards. TGE is going to realize soon enough that there is an op watching out, and he's going to be very worried about how he peeks into this one. And he's got it straight to the head. Don't mess with him. He might be on the drawing board, but he's more than capable of punching your lights out.
The coach comes in clutch. But that's big plays there from Nithon, right? 4 players coming his direction on the AWP, and he's able to isolate all of those fights to give them that 1v1. When they were getting outmanned, outgunned in middle, which is kind of ridiculous. You feel like you lose that first kill to a deagle. Maybe you just kind of cut your losses from there, but they really wanted to keep fighting for that mid control, only to end up in this dicey position to be bailed out by the stand-in.
I mean, look, Michael, if you could just win the 2v5, who cares, you know?
I suppose.
At least that's what I've heard. Nithon, how consistent is he with that one? I mean, I know you can get it right with practice, but it seems like the only time he's failed that, as he will find the kill off the back of it as well, and the only time he's failed that was in the retake.
Yeah. Plus 10 movement abilities at the start of the round, but it only lasts 10 seconds. IDK. Trying to rotate around the connector, just catches a glimpse and reels in, makes sure that he suffers for it. Smoke down the bottom con, so he won't make that progress. With Destiny getting mollied out, he's taken a pretty reasonable amount of chunk damage. They are making progress over towards this A site, though, and with them trying to wait for reels in to get in position as well, helpfully push back towards this site, Destiny's just trying to delay.
The flashbang out over won't catch out the bomb, which is close and personal. David's demise means it becomes a lot more difficult to actually hold on to this. They know CT's clear and can just stick the bomb plant. Molotov to the back of jungle to ensure it as well. What's the call going to be with the resmo? 2 of their players are completely locked out. So much of it comes down to TGE. They don't have a flash to pop through the smoke either. A very difficult position to be in for Paquetá. TGE's shown off his rifle and he's backing off. I think the call's been made. They don't want to go for this, and you can see why. Nithon, though,
he's kind of hovering.
I mean, this might be a mistake. You've lost out the AWP already because of that.
Not sure what the deal is there. The rest of the squad were running for the high hills, and Nithon, Scope is always going to give you away, especially if there's a player close enough to hear it. Yeah, trying to get in for a couple of exits. Not sure that would have been the preferred approach. You see TGE just chill in the kitchen, making some noodles, perhaps.
Especially because, generally speaking, you know, you're looking at a round like that, maybe it's fine. You know, CTs have won quite a few in a row and whatnot here and there, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, there was a 5v3, there was a 5v2 that they're able to clutch out. Those situations mean your money's gone. So, you're right, Michael. Maybe a little bit of that unhinged territory coming in. Context would have probably been able to reel them back in a little bit as well. TGE, also the other thing that people sometimes forget is even if he is a coach and probably knows the system, you're not used to mentally having to focus on aiming and calling at the same time, you know?
Yeah, not to mention sometimes in-game leaders and coaches don't exactly see eye to eye, so sometimes the systems are slightly different, even if they come to compromises.
Ooh. Smoke over to a block up pack. Maybe there's a deagle disaster coming in their way. CT side, though, not quite gonna be able to deliver what Sharks almost did. IDK also unable to find the first. So with this, Paquetá are once again in a position where maybe they just might save the rifle. Hell, even take the deagle armor forward. Who knows? Well, TGE coming out to back up Nithon, though. That might be a bit of madness coming in their way, and Nithon is unable to find the frag. TGE can complete it, but that's just $300 exchanged for about, what, 4,100?
Yeah, these past few engagements towards the tail end haven't seemed worth it there for Paquetá, and Sharks are happy to take those fights. They've been building up a bit of a cushion for themselves, so even if Paquetá starts to get a bit of a resurgence, it's not as though they couldn't afford buys in the following up 2 rounds. And Paquetá, aren't going to have a position to reinvest into this. You know, we're looking at a 7th projected here from the Sharks, especially if Nithon is getting caught on ledges. Zevi just picking them apart with the orb. Easy does it.
I mean, I'm really hoping this transition is nicely over with the CT side as well. You know, Young Sharks are gearing up for that. Meanwhile, inside the smoke, it's IDK to find one. The USB. Sometimes it's the old faithful, Michael. Standard issue. And right now they've come up with a standard issue than they have many times over, which is that there are 4 players in the terrorists, and there are much fewer than 4 on the CT side.
Well, the things that were working for Paquetá were aggression, in all fairness. IDK got a whole lot of information over towards A number of times over. We've seen a double push as well from TGE and David over towards the B bomb site. They've been trying to get that information early enough so that they can get the rotations in quick. Setting up for an A play. Are the Sharks not separating or going for any sort of other control? IDK out in the open. Flash is mistimed, and Nithon's there to cover. So Nithon getting the 2 kills from up high, and IDK is able to escape, only for JNT to punish him on the follow-up peak. 4 kills from Nithon, just providing so much support, and the shutdown on this A site, they could barely get past that A ramp smoke.
You've got to start to wonder, Nithon, if this is the kind of performance he's putting up, man, a few of those previous results could have gone the other way for sure. But yeah, obviously a couple of moments of questioning, but right now is not one of them. The full raw individual skill being showcased out there. Sharks, naturally, you can put a lot of the blame on them as well in a few ways, but you can only fight what's up against you. And you also don't hate Sharks for it too much with how aggressive the CTs have been getting very often. You don't really fault them for expecting that a concentrated push early in might work for them, but you're right, the smoke was just something they couldn't move past. Now, over in mid, a lot of focus, both from CTs and T side as far as utility is concerned, but is there going to be anyone to find out? Nithon can't really connect yet. The Young Sharks don't want to contest him for good reason. Oh dear. David, almost missing out that second player, but still is able to back off.
I was going to say David's in a rough spot because he can't escape from that position, but if he's able to fight his way out, that is a great alternative. Destiny will get a trade, even as David's trying to transition back to safer pastures. But now Sharks will have to reset, find an avenue of attack that isn't being explored or contested here from Paquetá. Molly in from Nithon, but he's moving towards a site instead. So middle will be their domain. They'll have this opportunity to get up the connector or the catwalk appropriately. No one's even spotting for the potential catwalk push. Only man to stop it would be TGE, but he's in a pretty one and done position.
I mean, Nithon can support him pretty well with a few flashes outwards, but he won't have time to deploy them. TGE's down already, and Nithon's relying on hitting the shot. He gets it, but it's through the wall, and Pac's still alive because of it. A chance has been found, but Zevi misses his own. He re-peeks out for a second, and that's where he redeems himself. Still, a difficult 2-on-2 for the CT side with how much utility is available for the terrorists. IDK can't catch out the man on the rotate either. A jump spot from Pank might be enough for IDK to flick. That's why you know he's not going for it. Not against the rifles. Quick kill for him to get IDK. Trying to line it up, but Zevi's been given an easy peek because of it. And Young Sharks take it away.
Man, that's a great recovery there from Young Sharks, just collapsing on that B site. And that's one of the problems that you'll have is that TGE, some of these positions as well, might not exactly be the strongest. You know, they had the apartments pressure via the Nithon AWP. You know, you could hold that line for TGE, but he's put himself in this spot where if they come out of the apartments, sure, he won't be exposed, but any sort of short pressure, and he's basically an easy trade.
That might have worked out for them. Missing out the jump, but even so, they might still end up falling for it. David deploys a smoke, but he still lost a fair bit of utility in the meanwhile. Paquetá getting uncomfortable. You know what IDK does when that happens? He pushes into Palace. That's where he's found. Pack to shut him down, and things are very much falling apart all over. David's good for one, but the trade is even better, and Young Sharks once again in a position where you can't really imagine it slipping away from them, but we've seen Paquetá wrestle it out a few times.
With a few more resources to be fair. So the Deagle and the M4,
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to really accomplish. Of course, no kits either. So post-plant will be scary. And there's a very vacant B bomb site for the Sharks to pounce in on, get that bomb planted, and then play the numbers advantage.
Yeah, actually getting the
actually go
retake as
plant
well.
line.
Well, Michael, details, Michael, details. Why can't you be a big picture man like Pankid? He just goes out and kills Nighthorn. Now only TGE left, trying to put up anything at all. But unfortunately for him, even the first duel doesn't go his way. Young Sharks able to take it away to 9 despite a few tumultuous rounds. We're going to have to be back after a short break to see what Paquetá can get done.
Was it over before we met? Or could you love me again? 'Cause you're the memory that I can't forget. Something more than regret. If we go back in time, can you forget the lies? And I'll believe when you deny. We've always been the same, playing our selfish games, but never learned to say goodbye. You're my type, but I'll be friendly with or without tonight. Baby, can't you see that this ain't gonna go right? 'Cause you can't let go, but I can't hold on like this. So you can't let go, 'cause I can't go on like this. You said it's over for a reason. If only words give me that meaning. You wanted never to believe it. Think we're addicted to that feeling. Lately I'm dreaming about you and how you can take me right back to where we started. 'Cause I'm going crazy without you. I need you. Just let me right back to where you are. Can we go back in time? Can you forget the lies? And I'll believe when you deny. It's always been the same, playing our selfish games, but never learned to say goodbye. You're my type, but I'll be friendly with or without tonight. Baby, can't you see that this ain't gonna go right? 'Cause you can't let go, but I can't hold on like this. So you can't let go, 'cause I can't go on like this. You're my type, but I'll be friendly with or without tonight. Baby, can't you see that this ain't gonna go right? 'Cause you can't let go, but I can't hold on like this. So you can't let go, 'cause I can't go on like this. So I'll be friendly with or without tonight. Baby, can't you see that this ain't gonna go? So you can't let go, 'cause I can't hold on like this. So you can't let go, 'cause I can't go on like this.
Love, love, love. Got me thinking about love.
They might have tripped on their route to the top, but Young Sharks are still able to find 9 rounds on the board. Michael Yumi Cassidy on the microphone with me as always. Michael, they're looking good right now.
Yeah, looking pretty solid all in all. We definitely see some adaptations, some changes in the Paquetá systems from that CT side. We'll see how much that affects the T side of things. It feels like they're trying to compensate for the lack of structure. Lucalzi getting aggressive in towards the apartments, and Nighthorn's already found the opening kill. This collapse on B is going to be real deadly, but Real Zin comes in with a trade.
Destiny, though, immediately bringing things back in their favor. That's a recoverable kit, but Destiny's going to try and protect it, but he had to protect the bomb too. Bang! Walks in, Nighthorn's gone, jumping around. What's going on here? This ain't a jumping castle, and that's what Paquetá teaches him. Gotta sit down and shoot me. No siree. Paquetá find themselves that pistol.
Felt like I was watching a kung fu film or something, trying to do like a flying sidekick to break a plank of wood.
What?
Plank just jumping out of the market when they lost that B bomb site. You can see how much they wanted to keep territory and make sure that that pressure was applied so Paquetá can get that bomb down safely, but still they're able to whistle away with all the kills needed. So no bomb plant needed. Now the force buy in from the Sharks, JNT. Scouting, as you'll do. Or Zevi on that Opal was very impressive in that T side. So hoping that we get to be graced with that.
Oh, great position for Lukazi to be, and grenade out as well is going to be all right. Not quite the best, but at least he can follow up, and that's why he's got the AK as well. Peeking in is TGE to intercept. He's got 2. Coach Who, he says, I can school you any day of the week. Pank in the meanwhile hoping to readjust that deagle, but he can't land a single shot, and because of that, IDK is only scarred by the scout, not quite taken down. That's like high school did to me. Grenade goes in deep. Doesn't quite catch him off, and now he's being locked in. IDK will fall, but that only allows for the trade Destiny. Once again, finding success for Paquetá.
Yeah, solid stuff all in all. It was like a few missed shots on those digs. They just made use of the numbers, and they didn't give them those opportunities back in as well. With the scout being a factor in that 1v3, like you said, they were just kind of teeing up for the trade. Well, it seems like there's been a bit of team damage at the start here. Not exactly an investment round, so Sharks won't mind too much.
I feel like that flash doesn't actually catch out anyone unless they're really close, but Lukazi. That is straight to the head of IDK. Can't be feeling too happy about that. Even so,
they go fast
very
it's
fast
just empty.
Play. Yeah. And look, it's been working out for Paquetá before. Michael, like you said, it might be just trying to put in some skeletons where there isn't a body anymore. Just say, all right, rush here, take that control, and we'll try and play off of it instead. Ooh, Destiny! The Angel of Death flies right through, and Lukazi, I mean, he might just want to back off with this AK. Smoke is going to bloom a little bit awry, so they might even be able to peek into this. Lukazi being very careful.
He could have moved anywhere, but he stood his ground, and he's found himself more kills as well. They're trying to track down the trade, but losing more and more weapons isn't ideal. Lukazi just runs for the high hills, and while they may be in hot pursuit, he can run away rather safely and just take up Sanctuary in towards that TV room. An AK can be whisked away.
Good stuff.
Yeah, all in all, a pretty solid round considering they had no investment coming into that. They come away with a rifle, those 3 kills. That keeps the money on Paquetá somewhat humble. Or modest, I suppose is probably more appropriate. Yeah, my bank account's okay. Now a potential tipping point. First gun round, and first one to win it takes the lead.
Ooh, Zevi's found one early in. Nighton's going to try and trade, but Zevi's ready. They can't keep getting aggressive once he's got the AWP. Have to adjust in one way or another. Maybe a couple of flashes to help you out with that peak. It's a solid advantage found, and T's have already lost most of their utility as well. Destiny has found a fair bit of space, but has to be careful not to just be peeked in by the AWP. He's got 1. Can he make it 2? No. Still a 2-on-2, so doable for the CTs, but the bomb site is taken. The bomb will be planted soon. 2 Molotovs, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, they're really appreciating the quick collective line of reasoning here on Paquetá, just constantly going for speedy plays, and now this 2-on-2. There's so much utility here for the Sharks. They can make this work, but there's that full belt that's gone. Pank couldn't even get in position.
And JNT's now been funneled through towards the market window. That Molotov's going to disallow him from any other peek. And long range, it's actually TGE to be contesting and forcing him back. JNT will try to retreat, but that attempt is unsuccessful. Paquetá finding themselves their 4th in a row. Good stuff from them, man. Like, I'm really digging what we're seeing. Of course, there could be a few more moments of polish, a flashbang out to help Nighton in the peak, things like that to come through. But the recovery coming out from them so quickly is still fantastic.
That's another one of those high-impact rounds there from David, where it's not a crazy sequence, but just being able to catch them all on the replay. Of course, thank you for that perfectly, because he gets all the high-impact kills he needs to when it came to the 2-on-2 as well. Yeah, I'm appreciating that they're going a little bit more bare bones, but the AWP is struck first here for the Sharks, and that's really big because it's the only weapon they have to really contend with. Look, top 3 in the round. Now the Deagles come in, and suddenly it's David against the world.
Yeah, sorry, David. I hate to break it to you. Lukazi's really hunting out for 4. He can't quite get it. David will still be in a tricky situation. Zevi peeks into him. And Michael, this is just that one round where Lukazi gets 3 kills and an AK save, coming back to haunt them. You don't get that, you don't have an AWP over here. You didn't have to buy a rifle in the previous one, which is why Lukazi is able to purchase up the AWP here. They're saying, you know what, we'll just save it, worst case scenario, and look at what he's gone and done with it. These repeats around that smoke, deadly.
Yeah, that hero AWP does so much. Lukazi's a crazy man, but knew that he had to come up with a big play like it, and that kind of throws things in for a bit of a loop. Now this isn't a healthy investment in for Paquetá. They've got a couple of these pistols instead. And, you know, they've got themselves into some pretty dicey positions. They've lost some of these opening kills only to recover it. So now that a couple times over from them, whether it's CT or T. But now that could be a huge momentum builder here for the Sharks, winning off of what is effectively a hero moment.
Destiny's already beaten past the smoke, and it's all about this 1v1. He won't be able to find it despite Tank not quite having the AK advantage. It'll be a double to start things off, and Paquetá already with the utility used. This is not a good sign for them. Zevi's found IDK, shuts him down. And I mean, Paquetá... I'm always going to have to question a team which chooses to go for a double smoke in mid when you only have 3 smokes in total. You know, Lukazi will find the bomb now as well. And again, I know, man, like, there's always going to be the asterisk. No IGL right now. I get it. But even so, with limited utility, they've been going for a lot of fast-moving, get some ground down underneath your feet plays.
Yeah.
2 smokes down in mid-window, that doesn't seem like it.
Well, it's a nice clean round here from the Sharks, as it was the cobbled by on Paquetá that they had to contest against. And once again, it's Lukazi that comes up with some big kills for them. I think just noting from some of the games we watched previously from Paquetá, we did notice, you know, some communications issues, and honestly, maybe even like mentality breakdowns when they were fighting from behind. You win a couple of these rounds where you think you have a feasible chance to win it. I do worry that Paquetá could just kind of check out in a lot of these rounds where there are still fighting chances.
Like, at the same time, you're also fighting very much with nothing to lose. I mean, you're not expected to win this series by the IGL, so... You know, there's always a bit of mix and match, yin and yang about that one. David, but hoping to mix and match some brains. I'm gonna take your head, I'm gonna take your head. They might not be too happy about that, though. David, you can't just go shooting people in the head.
It's a time to remember David Flick.
Perhaps. Okay, might be a time to forget that shot from Zevi at the very least, but as he starts to trail around, he's already been tagged down heavily. That spam's going to be preventing him from actually going through with an easy path. YN jumping down, just in hot pursuit, looking for the AWP. If he can find it, maybe give it over to Nighton. Maybe he can have one of those Lukazi moments. Michael, is it just me, or does Lukazi sound like something you can say and just scream out in an office? Lukazi, stats! You know?
I'm not quite living in whatever head fantasy canon you've got going on. Because this is just another day in the office, in all fairness.
True.
To Lukazi and the Sharks guys. We haven't seen that depth of tactical play from Paquetá. We haven't seen some of the team play that we've really touted them for in their previous runs, in their previous games. This is a shell of their former selves, and yeah, like you said, there's justifiable reasons for it, but for a map like Mirage as well, they're really just trying to leverage these faster fights. Now we see them slow things down, maybe just hoping to build momentum on this T side to start, but the Sharks are taking some initiative. They're taking top mid, and they're looking to get aggressive themselves.
Destiny's watching out for it, though. Lukazi, I don't think he's heard that bomb being dropped over. Does seem to be still too far away. Good flashbang over. Lukazi peeks in. He's got himself 1, 2, almost 3. Couldn't retreat, and he knew it. Had to commit, and TGE punishes him, but not before he's already found everything his team needed. TGE, ducked away, has the advantage of positioning, but not of HP. Young Sharks keep 4 players alive. Yeah. Ooh. Nice shot from David. Okay then, well that's a bit of a quicker cleanup. Had us completely shut up. Young Sharks. Turns out they can't just kill Paquetá, they can even kill our voices for a while. That's just how good they are right now, Michael. Oh yeah. But you know, Michael, the more we see of Lukowski, I do feel like he's the guy you go to in like a cop comedy. It's like, get me Lukowski. He's the only one who can solve this case. And right now the case is about how Paquetá can actually start to bring things back over here. Things are going to be pretty rough for them, but finding the first on CT side isn't going to make it even easier at all. Player now lodged inside ladder room as well, so going up catwalk won't be easy. Lukowski waiting for the peek in. He's got himself only one this time. I say only, but hell. The kind of performances he's been delivering, we're generally used to doubles. GNT, the trade. Still a 3-on-3. Paquetá have a chance in this. Molotov goes deep, rails in. In the meanwhile, oh, Zevi missing out a chance.
Oh, and Zevi's coming with that kill. That's also necessary. Nithon dealing with the AWP, but Reelson hasn't been spotted, so it's all about tapping that bomb, and Reelson can go out to finish the job. He wasn't detected, wasn't making noise, didn't provide any real pressure. It was that AWP that diverted the attention, and that's exactly what the Sharks were asking for. They had the numbers to work off of, and now they're up to map point. This Mirage pick coming into the series, really working out. You know, they threw a little bit of that curveball, you know, mixed it up a little bit in the veto process, and they could come away with that map advantage. We haven't seen too much to be excited about, really, on this Paquetá Gaming T side, other than going for these fast entries, which I suppose, if you can pull them out now, would be a great place to start.
I mean, they do at least have the full rifles, even if utility is low. And David's found a lot of space going back again in towards window. That's been a priority of contest for them a couple of times over, but every time it's through the bench, so there is information on the CT side. That's why they've abandoned mid completely. GNT could be deadly. Peeking up forward. Oh, he's found Nithon mid-air. There goes one of the big men on the Paquetá side, and as Zevi gets another, Zevi's gonna make sure that they can't come through connector. Has to actually move outside of the CT spawn. He seems to have an idea of where they're going to be coming in from, though, because remember, David's position was aware earlier on, and he's actually crept in so nicely. David, though, is gonna catch Zevi off guard. Is spotted out by Pank as he goes for the jump spot himself as well.
The bomb's on B.
Well, it might be planted. No, not quite. Destiny's down, and with that, the round might be as well. All comes down to IDK. Position is solid. They don't know where he is, and he's moved around the AWP, but now reveals his position. CTs aren't going to be peeking into him, just waiting around the corner. JNT's been forced out. IDK's got one dix on the second, but not quite the win. Can't take it away, and despite a great showing coming up from the